Hi, I'm Curtis Thompson. Welcome to 320 Workshops. Today's project is a small lap desk that I found in an antique store a couple weeks ago, and I thought it'd be a fun project to restore. Lap desks were very popular in the late 18th, early 19th century. So I don't know really how old it is, but it's probably 200 years old. There's some veneer work that needs to be done, and there also needs to be some repairs to the joints. It's kind of broken. The bottom's a little warped and taken out. So I've got some work to be done, but it should be a fun project. We'll have to see how it comes out.
The first order of business is to get the small pieces of veneer and ebony that were inside the box saved, and also the small key that's taped to the bottom. I want to keep that back. Then we're going to get started in getting this cleaned of grime and oils and waxes and polishes so that we can be sure to have a clean surface to begin working on. The most important part about disassembly is keeping track of all the parts. I like to put the screws back where they came from when possible, and if not, in a bag with the hinges or lock or whatever I'm trying to save.
I flew an airplane into the mountains that was made of pain. I'll never see that plane again. Who are we to wonder where we'll be when I don't even know if I'll stay in this time zone. So for now I'll lay my head to sleep. I won't question, I'll just sleep for a while. Oh, oh, oh. Abide by time when I don't even know if I'll stay in this time zone.
Here you can see how warped the bottom of the box is. I'll be using hide glue for all the repairs. It's for a couple reasons. One, it's reversible. It's also the traditional glue that would have been used, and it really is a nice glue to work with.
Driving through the mountains, rolling down my window, feel the warmth upon my skin. Summer's golden hour, met by midnight showers. We dance under the evergreens. Oh, it's a good life. It's a good life. See the morning glory with coffee that you pour me. Endless reasons to believe.
All of the edges and a lot of the trim are ebony, and there are a number of broken spots, missing pieces, and cracks. Now I'm saving this sawdust from the ebony. I'm going to use it later on, But right now I'm trying to fit in a piece of new ebony in between the veneer that's sticking out on the front and back. I found a piece of ebony, basically it was a pencil blank for pencil turning or pen turning, and I'm going to cut it down to fit and glue it in place and then trim it to fit how it belongs.
lovely, knowing that you love me. Your goodness always follows me. This divine communion between God and human. We walk back where the garden grows. It's a good life.
It's a slow process of bringing this ebony down. Now you can see the inside of this edge is concave, and I've got to take it down to match the edges and then trim the inside of it to that round.
It's a good life. It's a good life. Oh, it's a good life. Oh, it's a good life. Oh, it's a good life.
Shaping this ebony was very time consuming, and it's a pretty good fit, but I'll show you in a little bit how I blend that into the rest of the edge. There were a number of pieces of the veneer in the box when I took it, and I was able to fit that back in, but there were a number of pieces that were missing that I had to create from new. I used some modern veneer that I had of rosewood, matched really, really nice, and I was able to fit it in pretty well.
I've been thinking about all the words you say, how they mess me up in a perfect way. I'm not talking much, trying to listen more, not to fight it off, but I've been hurt before. Just a little bruise.
Where there were small pieces missing on the edge, I opted for using this epoxy putty rather than having to cut out larger pieces of the original edging. It seemed to work pretty well. It stains up nicely and you can form it, so it worked really well.
Feel what I haven't felt inside for a second or two.
On this edge veneer, I used a paperback cherry veneer, which is about the right thickness. I was also able to match the color pretty well with stain. Now the grain was a little heavier in the cherry, but I was able to fill in the grain and it matched up really nicely.
And just a simple thing, like a white lie, turns into an earthquake. Breaking up with you thought was yours, it's under your feet.
Here you can see I put a piece of sticky sandpaper down on this box, and I used that one to size the wood, but you can see there where when I'm trying to chop it, it keeps the veneer in place, and it's a handy thing to have around when you're doing veneer work like this.
Thinking about this time of year when it gets so warm outside. Feel what I haven't felt inside for a second or two. But things are looking up. Things are looking up.
The ebony trim on one corner was completely missing, so I used some more of that pen blank to cut a new piece for that. Took a lot of trimming to fit it in just right. So once I got it glued into place, I taped it up and let it set overnight. The next day I took the tape off and began cleaning the glue off so I could trim very delicately the ebony back down, being cautious not to cut into the bird's eye maple veneer.
Things are looking
Cracks around the edges in the ebony. I'm going to use a mixture of shellac and the ebony sanding dust and just kind of mix it in kind of as a grain filler to fill those places in. You can see the major crack here, and then right here where I'll need to blend in the repair piece with the rest of the ebony. Here's a little closer view of that repaired end that I'm going to try to blend in. So you can see I'm adding some extra sanding dust that I saved earlier to mix in with this. I add a little bit of shellac with my finger and then just keep sanding. You can see it's blending in pretty well now. Just continuing to add some ebony sanding dust and shellac and scrub it in basically. There you have it. So here I'm adding the color to those veneer work in the top to try and blend it together. I've already gone over the veneer once or twice with the color. I used some dyes. I had a black and a reddish brown dye that I mixed together with some alcohol, and I'm rubbing that in. Now here I actually took that same mix, but I mixed it with some shellac to try and rub it in a little bit more and keep the finish color going.
So, the polish I want to, or the finish I want to put on is a French polish. Now, I am not a French polish expert, but I've done it before and I have had some success. Here's a recent build I did with veneer and did a French polish finish. I think it turned out pretty well. You can see the shine there. So that's the kind of finish that I want to put on it. It would have been a traditional finish, and I'm sure what was on there originally. And load this up with some shellac. It's just a matter of getting it rubbed on, I guess. They say to pat your rubber on your palm of your hand to make sure it's evenly distributed and not overly wet or dry. As you know, this stuff dries really, really fast. And just a drop of mineral on here to help make it go a little bit smoother. Now, that'll be about it for today, but I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of polish on, same thing on these edges. I did add collar here, so I don't want to wipe it off. All right, so this morning I've made up a little more shellac. I've thinned it down a little bit more out, a little more alcohol, and a new rubber. And I am going to now give another coat of the shellac. Trying to get little circle patterns. Yes.
Here I'm using some of the furniture repair burn-in sticks to fill in some of the smaller chips along the top.
All right. I had to go out the other shop and get my little jeweler's anvil. I want to try and flatten that out just a little bit.
Writing songs about you is getting old. Can't see your face anymore.
So first thing is you can see that this is bent this way a little bit, and these two little pieces here, probably this part came down on it too hard and bent it. As this bowed out, that probably hits there. So I'm going to bend this back, and I'm going to bend these pieces up.
I'll keep you safe, locked inside my chest. Safe from the lovers that want you next.
All right, save you a little bit of foul language. All the work I did to save the screws in the right place. I picked the screws out of this side and I screwed them into this side, and they're longer and one came through. God, I can't believe it. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and get the box assembled. I'm going to touch a little piece of the wax down in there, and then I'll have to repolish the top of this again anyway. So that will take care of the problem, but man, that makes me mad.
And all your records on the floor, they just don't move me anymore. I'm not wondering. I know that she will make you happy instead.
best sequence is going to be. I think I'm going to need to put them on this first. This. Right.
I'll keep you safe, locked inside my chest. And I'll try to love you the way that I knew best. Hope the next one holds you close, loves you better.
All right. I think a little more work getting some polish down there. I think we can get it, but for now, we'll let this set.
They say big things come in small packages, and this little box sure was a lot of work. I'm not sure who MV was, but I plan to really enjoy this box for a long, long time. Hope they did as well. I'm pleased with the results, and I think it's going to be a nice addition to my desk. Thanks for stopping by.